I just started. Alrighty. Welcome everyone to another edition of Pick and Roll. I'm your host Sean. There is actually no EJ today. He fell ill with winter illness, so show must go on, and that's why I'm here. So let's get into it. We got a packed show for y'all. The NBA trade deadline is next Thursday, February 5th. It's going to be a big one. Giannis is on the table, potentially other big names. We got the Super Bowl next weekend. It's going to be a big one. Patriots, Seahawks. So I'm excited for it, and we're going to preview some of that. So let's get into it. Just like usual, we got the NBA Week 15 Power Rankings. Here's my list. Number 5. Bam, give me the Boston Celtics. They've been high standing all year long. Jaylen Brown is an MVP candidate. The role players have all stepped up. They're keeping it coming, and you love to see it, especially without Tatum. So number 5. Number 4, I got the New York Knicks. Brunson still balling. Cat, I know he's been involved in some trade discussions. But this team is still deep, and especially if they make a big move over the deadline, this team could move closer to championship contention. And so I like them, even in a rough stretch. I think they're number 4 in my power rankings. Number 3, I got the San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama has been healthy relatively all season long. Love to see it. Keldon Johnson, the rookie, Dylan Harper stepping up, Stephon Castle. This team just needs to stay healthy, and I think they're a legitimate threat. They look really real to me. Their size can compete with the Houston Rockets. Their scoring can compete with the best of them. So I like this team. They're just young. They need to get some experience under their belt. Number 2, the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham has been balling all year long. Even on Cade off nights, this team still finds ways to win. I like the Pistons a lot. I think they're only going to get better from here on out, year by year as well. Definitely expect a better performance in the playoffs than last year. They're honestly just, if they can make one little sneaky move over the trade deadline, I think they can get, they can surprise people. Number 1, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Every week we have them at number 1, me and DJ. And that's for a reason. They're so deep. They're not even fully healthy. Jalen Williams has been out the last 2 weeks. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a stud. This team has faced adversity this year, and I think, if anything, that might make them better because they're battle-tested. Last year, you could say they kind of got it easy in the playoffs. This year, they're experiencing more challenges and more strange losses, like blowouts by the Hornets. So, I have a little bit concerned. We'll get into that in a minute. But I think that this is weathering the team for the storm that is to come. And I think they will respond well. However, I don't think they have a chance to get against the Nuggets, fully healthy Nuggets, which I've been saying all year long. But they still have a good record, 3-8-7 with tough losses as well. So it hasn't really affected their record. So that's why they remain number 1 at the top of my list. So Week 15 Power Rankings, number 5 Celtics, number 4 Knicks, number 3 Spurs, number 2 Pistons, number 1 Thunder. So yeah, arguing with the wall, everybody. We're going to get to the next segment of this lonesome episode. The good, bad, and ugly. Every week we do this. The good being what it sounds like, something we like to see over this week. Bad is something not great, but not the worst. Ugly is the worst thing, that we've seen this week. Something that really made you mad, made you sad. Negativity. So, that being said, my good. Sam Darnold, everybody. Proving the haters wrong in the playoffs. 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions on 69%, with a QBR of 127 versus the Rams to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC Championship. If you told us that a year ago, we would laugh at your face. Sam Darnold playing through an oblique injury, has really stepped it up and silenced the haters. We'll see what he does in the Super Bowl, but I like what I'm seeing. If we get this version of Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, we have to have some serious conversations about him. And this is a great look for him and the team. So yeah, shout out Sam Darnold, man. He's my good for this week. Bad, the Los Angeles Rams. This isn't the greatest week for bads for this necessarily. I don't consider an NFC championship exit necessarily bad. It's not ideal. Considering they were my Super Bowl favorites, however, it's pretty bad. I don't like to see my bracket get messed up. And the special teams mistakes were quite alarming, to say the least, I must say. Fumbling a punt return, you can't do that in an NFC championship game. They let the team down when they needed. The offense was pretty steady. The defense was pretty steady, in my opinion, and they just needed. This was such a close matchup that it came down to the special teams, all people, and who would have thought they let them down? I mean, it can't be that hard, man. So that's what you hate to see. Something went wrong there for sure, and I think they had the superior offense to the Seahawks, and it just happened to just not go well. Aside from the special teams, just screwed up the momentum they had offensively. Improper late game execution. I just don't like how this team handled themselves down the stretch of that NFC Championship. Very disappointing, especially for someone like me who had them winning the Super Bowl. And so I think they could have another good shot next year. But the clock is ticking on Matthew Stafford, so you don't like to see these unnecessary, avoidable losses, at this stage. So my ugly, worst of the worst. I got Bill Belichick not being in the Hall of Fame. He's a 6-time Super Bowl champ. He took, and this is kind of funny, but it also is impressive. He took the 1994 Cleveland Browns to the playoffs. That's an award in itself, man. That's any year the Browns make the playoffs, especially because of the coaches. I think that deserves some applause. Yeah, it's absolutely egregious. Bill Belichick is 100% a Hall of Famer. That's like saying that, in NBA terms, that's like saying what's his name? Frank Jackson? What's his name? Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan's coach. Whoops. That's like saying Phil Jackson's not a Hall of Famer. What's happening here? Look, I know he's not the greatest dude. I know there's some weird stuff going on with his affair with a woman 20 years younger than him, but that has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with his career. That has nothing to do with the Hall of Fame. Say what you want about him, but he's a Hall of Famer. So that being said, my ugly Bill Belichick, bad Rams, good Sam Darnold. Enough said right there. Debates and takes, everybody. Our next segment. We're going to start off with some NFL questions. The Super Bowl is next weekend, a week from Sunday. First up, is New England legit? The Patriots, it's hard to tell. They've had a really easy schedule. You could say they got, free playoff route. They played the struggling Chargers team with some injuries, and they played the Houston Texans with a very nervous, very shaky, very trouble-causing C.J. Stroud. And so he basically gave them a free win. And then they played the injured Broncos without Bo Nix. So that being said, it's not easy to get to the Super Bowl. I'm not ever going to say that. It's football. It's still anybody's game. But I don't know. This is a lot to take in. This is a lot to consider. And this is one of the easiest paths to the Super Bowl I think we've ever seen. on paper at least. I'm not playing in those games. I don't know exactly how hard it was, but as a fan, it definitely looks like they had an easier route that you'll love to see. It doesn't feel the most accurate, the most genuine. And on top of all that, their toughest regular season opponent was probably the Buffalo Bills, if you really look at it. And which they were 1-1 against. One win, which was nice to see at the beginning of the year. Definitely gave them momentum. And then the loss later on, the Bills came back for revenge. So it's still iffy. We don't know about this team and how they compare to better teams. So we'll see in the Super Bowl. I'd say if they beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, forget the easy schedule, forget the playoff, forget the playoff non-toughness, forget the all the stuff I just mentioned, and we can put them. We can make this a legitimate Super Bowl. You can argue that. If they beat the Seahawks, I'll give them it. That's impressive, man. Unless anything fishy happens, unless Sam Darnold's weak, really steps in. So I'm gonna say, are they legit? I can't give you a 100% yes. It kind of just depends on the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm just gonna dodge the question. The next question we got here: what went wrong for the Rams? They lost to the Seahawks in a close one. I kind of already touched on this. The special teams, man. You can't have those mistakes. Fumble, punt return. The offense was good pretty much all game, but when it mattered most at the end of the game, the late game execution, which you've seen them able to execute, especially in the last time these teams met in December, where they were able to make a game-winning, game-sealing touchdown to Puka Nacua. But they weren't able to pull something off like that this time. They weren't able to, like they did when they shut down the Bears, and they came back against, in the first round. So I don't. Yeah, I would have to say, in particular, the most alarming thing about this was the special teams, 100%. I mean, who special teams goes out here and messes up this badly? So I would say that's what mainly went wrong. But again, the offense wasn't able to execute. You could say that was the great Seahawks defense, which shout out to Seattle. But yeah, this team they were able to shut down the Bears, who have been coming back all year long with hot momentum. This team just looked like they had the clutchness and late game maturity under pressure to handle these kinds of situations, and they ended up not being able to. So it's a little weird, it's a little head scratching to me. I don't know what went wrong. Maybe it was a bad day or something. The trip, jet lag or something. I don't know. It happens. So NFC Championship, they'll be back next year. We'll see. Yeah, but it's disappointing for sure. This is my Super Bowl pick. This is Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen, Patriots Rams. It's going to be a good game. I like this matchup. Out of the final four teams, I would say this is probably one of the best outcomes. I wouldn't want to see Broncos. Nobody would want to see Broncos without Bo Nix. I don't even know if we want to see with Bo Nix necessarily. If you're a typical NFL fan, but I think Patriots are probably, out of all the teams that were remaining after Buffalo sold the bag, I think the Patriots are probably the second most entertaining team left after Buffalo. And I think they'll be a good matchup for Seattle. Obviously, I think Seattle's heavy favorites, as they should be, and I think they'll win ultimately. But the Patriots could make it close. We'll see. This, like I said earlier, a second ago, this game determines how legitimate of a run this was for the Patriots in my eyes. If you do well against a hot Seattle team with a good defense to shut down the Rams in the late game, and you are able to defend a hot offense with JSN, Sam Darnold, 2026 playoff Sam Darnold. If you can stop this team with a lot of momentum, I think this is a great look for New England, and I think this takes away all the all the discrepancies. But yeah, so back to the question, my Super Bowl pick is Seattle. They're just way more proven. They check all the boxes. They have experience beating good teams in these playoffs. They did beat the Rams, who were one of the favorites for the NFC, I think. And they beat the Niners pretty easily. So this team has shown up when it matters most of the season. And, with everything I've seen, I have no reason to believe they won't here. We'll see if they can handle the big lights. Because this is a young team who hasn't been this far. Sam Darnold, who has been facing criticism for his playoff performances, now he's in the Super Bowl. And JSN, no one expected him to break out this year the way he did, and now he just like that, he's in the big bright lights. So we'll see if they can withstand the final test, the final boss of the NFL, the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna go Seahawks off of paper and what I saw in the regular season, what I've seen in these playoffs. You have to go Seahawks. You have to. So yeah. Did Shador deserve his Pro Bowl selection? He was selected as a replacement in the upcoming Pro Bowl game. I'm going to say, it doesn't really matter. It's the Pro Bowl. I don't think a lot of people watch this. And it's really just like a fan game anyway. It's really just something to give back to the fans, even though it's not entertaining. But it's not necessarily. Is it really? Is the All-Star game? Is the NBA All-Star game? Is the NFL Pro Game really about who's legitimately deserving anymore? Who's actually the best players in the leagues, or is it mostly what entertainment for fans? Is it mostly what players we want to see as entertainment? If it were up to me, if it were a perfect world that I designed, I would make it legitimately who is deserving. I would make it kind of like an extended All-NBA team, you know what I mean? For NFL too. I want to see the best guys in their respective sports playing in the game against the other best guys. So, entertainment, names, can be fun, but it's not really the point, I think. And we see that shifting in the NFL with back to my point and the question. I think Shador was a fan pick, a fan name. He had his moments during the regular season. There was a few snaps he looked like an all-pro quarterback, but look at his season, man. The amount of interceptions we saw thrown, some rough games. He doesn't qualify. And you could point to some other guys, injuries, wanting to play in the game. Would Lamar Jackson want to turn around and play in this? Would, all the other guys want to. There's a lot of QBs who had rough seasons, and then would they want to turn around and play in the Pro Bowl right after injury? So you could say he was the best available, but I don't know. I still think that you could have found someone who was more deserving. So yeah, it was a fan pick. Do what you want with that information. If you're watching it as a fan and you like Shador, then all power to you. But as a purist, as a guy who wants to see the Pro Bowl, the All-Star game, whatever it is, by definition, I would know. He doesn't deserve it. We're going to transition to some NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder. They have had 3 losses to the Spurs, 3 of which were all in a row. They were able to snap the streak a few weeks ago, and they just had a blowout loss against the Hornets, and they just lost to the Timberwolves last night in almost a blowout. And interesting to see after that cringe comment we saw a couple months ago about how Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is impossible. Itachi always is a free throw merchant, essentially, is what he said. And the league covers for him by giving him extra calls. So it's interesting you see them beat them after this. I'd love to go back and see how many calls Shea got versus the last time these teams met, or to see if that was in the equation. I don't think it is necessary. I don't think it's a huge factor. I think this is probably just they got the best of them that night. You know, they are without Jalen Williams. No excuses, obviously. But just so you know. So have I lost confidence? What is my confidence on the Thunder right now, considering all this information? I'm going to say this. What I've seen is a little bit alarming to me. You don't like to see a defending champ. You know how I feel about their championship if you've been watching. But you don't like to see a contender, a serious contender who's with the number one seed, have these stunning losses and upsets. So I would say I am slightly concerned. That being said, I never had them over Denver. A healthy Nuggets team beats this Thunder team every time, in my opinion, in a series. It could be a 6 or 7 game series. Don't even get me started. But don't call me out with that stupid joke. And but I think the Nuggets are just a superior team, especially this year with an upgraded roster. But that is besides the point. I would say, they are. They look more beatable to me, the Thunder. They're still deep. They have a great defense. But there's something else that I'm going to bring up that is interesting to me. I never realized how poor of an offensive rebounding team they are. They're net ranked 30th in the league for offensive rebounding. And so you don't like to see that from a greatly sized team like this with a great defense. And then they're 21st in shot attempts. And especially in their losses, I've seen that they struggled to shoot the ball as many times. You got to get some attempts up there. And in their losses, it seems like they're doing okay defensively in every game. But the losses, they seem to have trouble taking shots and taking good shots. So I want to see more of an explosive offense from this team, especially when their backs against the wall in close games. But they're still, nonetheless, they're still capable of beating any West team outside of healthy Nuggets. In my opinion, I think some of these are. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say these are regular season losses. But we weren't seeing any of this last year, so just something to keep your eye on. So with that, we're going to move to the next question. Are you concerned about the New York Knicks? They've had some trouble. We've seen some ugly losses. We've seen some weird performances from our stars and Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson. I don't think this team has enough as is. They are a deep roster. But how are they going to arguably upgrade the roster with Jordan Clarkson off the bench? Tyler Kolek steps up in his sophomore season. Miles McBride's still there. This team is deep, and it looks a little bit deeper than last year, but something isn't translating. Maybe with the coaching change in Mike Brown. I don't think they should have fired Tibbs, I think that was a little quick to point the blame. So maybe it is the coaching. Maybe the coaching change is a problem. I don't know, though. I think regardless, this team doesn't have enough. So I am slightly concerned about the Knicks. Do I think they could come out of the East and pull that off? Yes, it's possible. It is possible. Teams can get hot during the playoffs. They have the tools they need. But I really want to judge this team after the deadline. As is, I will say, this team is not going anywhere really. Maybe a conference finals. in a wide open East, for that matter. In the West, they don't really stand much of a chance. But I want to wait. Give me a week or two. I want to wait after the deadline to see what moves they make, because they do have the assets to make big moves. What if they land Giannis? What if they package Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby or both of them and get a better fitting, high quality role player or another star on a lesser value than Giannis, obviously. I want to see what they do next Thursday at the deadline, or Friday, whatever it is. And I want to see what they do with this roster, because I think you have to make some kind of move, because this is not working as is. They're still one step behind, in my opinion. So, and they're a bad free throw team outside of Brunson. They don't get to the line much, and they're bad at shot blocking. They rank low in each of those categories, free throw attempts and shot blocks. So I don't know, maybe you try to get a better shot blocker, maybe you try to change the something, the free throw coaching, try to get the line more. I don't know. They need to make a move. They need to shake. They need to do some kind of momentum change, some kind of booster. But I don't want to blow this thing up. I don't want to give too much for a guy, even a guy like Giannis. I don't want to give too much for and just leave him and Brunson. I want to keep the depth somehow, but make an upgrade, make some kind of change. So those are my thoughts on the Knicks. Speaking of the trade deadline, it's next week. Giannis has announced that he wants to, or he hasn't been announced personally, but the reports came out that Giannis is now open to being traded, believes it's best for both sides, him and Milwaukee. So that gives us something to be excited about for next week. So who do I want to see traded most at the trade deadline next week? From a fan perspective, obviously, Giannis would be pretty fun to see get traded. That's definitely intriguing, because not only is he a superstar and the second best player in the league, but he is worth so much that this could be a three-team, multi-team trade that could legitimately shake the league and make a lot of teams look different. So, and it could restructure the conferences if he moves. If he changes conferences, it can mix things up a lot. So this is really intriguing. I think there's going to be a domino effect if he's moved at this deadline, or when he is moved ever. There's going to be a domino effect. A player of that caliber being moved is going to take so many assets being also moved, and so like you trade Giannis for so and so and so and so, and then we're going to trade so and so and so and so and flip them for this and that, or a 3-team, 4-team trade. It could be a 5-team trade. That could change a lot of different teams' outlooks, different conferences. So obviously Giannis is very intriguing and who I want to see get traded. But another thing, I'm saying this from I'm a Hawks fan. Let's get that out of the way. But another thing to point out, which I want to happen as a Hawks fan, is CJ McCollum has an expiring contract, and so if you don't move him and he doesn't re-sign or you don't want to re-sign him in the offseason, you lose him for nothing, and essentially get Corey Kispert for Trae Young and nothing else. So if I'm Atlanta, I would want to trade CJ McCollum now and get some kind of value in return. I would definitely shop him at least and scope what kind of value I can get, because I want to maximize this Trae Young trade. I know the point of this trade obviously wasn't necessarily gathering assets, because it was only two players, two vets for one all-star caliber player. So obviously low value, but they got the salary off the books. But if they can get some kind of value by flipping McCollum while he is tradable, or you know, if you can get a little more better fit from him, or trade him for another player which is a better fit, you know, maybe get a little bit younger. I don't know. I could also see them keeping him because he has been great off the bench. Maybe you package other guys for a third, second option alongside Jalen Johnson, or try to get in the Giannis sweepstakes. But I just want to say that I think it might be wise to trade McCollum right now while you can. And then obviously Darius Garland I want to see traded. The Cavs have had some struggles. I know they picked it up and they're back in the playoff mix now. But I'm not a Garland believer, especially with this team. And I think that his value is low right now. But I think the Cavs should look to replace him at the point guard spot. I don't think him and Mitchell are a good fit. They're both tiny guards who don't play the greatest defense, especially Garland. And he's too streaky for me. His health has been such a question mark. He's always out. I don't love that fit anymore. I want a more reliable, healthier point guard. You know, something needs to happen. I don't think you see some success Cleveland's having now, but I don't think. I still don't think they're much better, if at all, than last year. If anything, they look a little bit worse to me. So, yeah, I would look if. I would definitely shop Garland and see what value he's at right now if I was Cleveland. We're going to transition to our next segment, Do's and Do Nots, a brand new segment, where this week we're going to do NBA teams, where I will say I'll name teams and say what they should do and focus on to be better, and what's working. And then I'll say what they should not do. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The first team, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Their due, I would say, is get offensive rebounds, stay healthy, obviously, because they've had some guys in and out of the rotation, messes with consistency, and score the ball more. Try to elevate the offense, help Shea out a little bit. But I think that comes to being healthy, having Jalen Williams get consistent, because you saw him go off in the finals. So I would say, focus on offense while maintaining the defense and offensive rebound for the Thunder. And then their do not play the Nuggets. I think they can beat any team except for the Nuggets. Do not play the Nuggets. You don't want to play the Nuggets in the playoffs. Avoid them at all costs if healthy. And you don't want to lose the Spurs again as well. I think you've already lost 3 in a row to them. They play them again on this Wednesday, February 4th, the day before the trade deadline. You need to win that game. You need to make it 3-2. You don't want a team in your own conference, also in contention, to have that much momentum against you. You want to swing it back a little bit. I know you can't even it out. It's too late. That's the last time they'll play each other before the playoffs. But you want to make a statement and say, you got us those 3. You got us those 3 times. But we figured you out. We understand our mistakes. We'll see you in the playoffs. You don't want to get another loss. If you get another loss, you end on a bad note in that matchup. Spurs are feeling good if they have to play you in the playoffs. This is important. This is an important game for OKC. You can't lose to the Spurs again. The Atlanta Hawks, my Atlanta Hawks, do make a trade for a big-time player, or at least a high-caliber player. I think they're one little piece away, one second, third option away from being elevated to a higher spot in the Eastern Conference. I think they can be in playoff conversations if they get like a Pascal Siakam, or maybe not that exact player, but a player of that skill level, maybe not that exact position, but you need another all-star. Maybe package they have a lot of good role players who could be traded, who have value. Maybe package 2 or 3 guys and make a move. You haven't seen historically the Hawks really dive in and make a risky move on a guy to pivot and move the needle. So I want to see the Hawks act more aggressively this time around. And dude, I know that we're young. People can get better. You can wait it out, but I take advantage of this young team right now. Take advantage of Jalen Johnson and add another piece to this equation, and try to be up there with the top teams in the East. Trade McCollum, like I just said, and defend well also for the Hawks dudes. I've seen a lot of defensive mistakes, especially the Hawks game I attended earlier in the season. A lot of defensive miscommunications. Do not, for Atlanta, do not trade for Anthony Davis. Do not. I went on a gigantic rant about him the other week. Do absolutely, positively, do not trade for Anthony Davis. I mean, I cannot stress enough how he should, he's always injured. He's never worth it. Never worth it. He is so completely unreliable. Under no circumstances would I ever say to trade for him. Hold on, we're having some technical difficulties. All right. Do not trade for the Hawks. Do not trade for Anthony Davis. Completely unreliable. I went on a huge rant about him last week. He's always injured. And that's why you'll be paying all that money. You'll be giving all those assets for no games played. So whatever you do not trade for him. Resist the urge. I know there's temptations. I know there's, if we got him, we'd be so good. But the reality is, he's not going to play. He's not going to play. And so he's not going to play, and therefore he's not worth it. So, yeah. And then don't be careless with the ball as well for the do-nots. They rank 17th in turnovers. So that's for Atlanta. The LA Clippers, I would say, move and shoot the... Why does the camera keep turning off? Hold on. Why does the camera keep turning off? Why does the camera keep turning off, dude?
We should sit in EJC so they're not being here.
I'm not. I just did all this. I'm not gonna change it. How do you turn off the battery conservation? Whatever. That does it for do's and do-nots. We have made it to our final segment of this lonely, shorter episode, which is Lippy's List, everybody. We got with the camera keeps turning off. Why does it do that? You guys shut up. How do you turn this thing? How do you get this thing to stay on? Damn. Stop turning off. If there's anyone watching right now, sit tight. Yo, Luke. Could you just sit for one segment? The last segment, just for Libby's list. Can you just like stand by the camera and just make sure it doesn't turn off? Just make sure it doesn't turn off.
How do I do that?
Just like keep tapping the screen. Oh, it just turned off.
What's wrong with it?
Let me just shoot this one thing, and then I'm just gonna end the stream. Yeah, just keep tapping it. Just make sure it doesn't turn off. It'll just randomly shut off. So just like just make sure it doesn't do that. All right. The last segment, we got Lippy's list with the trade deadline next Thursday. We got top 5 teams in need of a trade deadline move. Bam at number 5, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not enough help around Anthony Edwards. You need a better co-star rather than Julius Randle, although he's looked great this year. You just need someone a little bit stronger, a little bit more of an impact, and maybe a third option, maybe a better third option as well. So the Timberwolves should make a move. You don't want to waste Anthony Edwards playing on an all-time high right now. Number 4, my Atlanta Hawks. We need shooting. One more good player, like I just talked about, to pair with Jalen Johnson. There's one more piece away. Maybe somebody in the skill set of about the level, maybe not exact position or player, but maybe the skill level of like a Pascal Siakam, I would say. Just one more guy to move the needle. Number 3, Miami Heat. They're not winning or tanking right now. They have no clear direction. You need to either break this thing up and fully tank, or gather a star, get Giannis or somebody, and fully commit to contending. So, yeah, number 3 is the Heat. Number 2, my Los Angeles Lakers. Not a good roster currently. They need shooting. They're lacking that. They're lacking defenders. You lose Dorian Finney-Smith in the offseason, and now you're even worse defensively. Not much draft capital as well. So maybe you want to think about trying to trade someone who would get you draft capital, although that's probably not what's going to happen because this is a commercial team right now. So improve this roster, fully commit to contending if you insist on it. Number 1, finally, the Golden State Warriors. They are the team most in need of a trade. Curry's not going anywhere. There's no point in rebuilding with him, so you have no choice but to contend. And Butler is now out for the season, and you were already struggling with both of them playing. And now Kuminga wants out. You need to make, I'd say, probably two moves, if not one big, massive move. You got to get Kuminga off your hands. That's not working out. And you need to figure out a solution for Butler being out. And I think you got to take the deep dive, trade everything you got for a guy like Giannis. Screw it. You have no other choice. Backs against the wall. You need to make a massive move. And I'm looking at you, Golden State. Let's see what you do. So number 5, for the recap, top 5 teams in need of a trade deadline move. Number 5, Timberwolves. Number 4, Hawks. Number 3, Heat. Number 2, Lakers. Number 1, Warriors. And that's Lippy's list this week and this episode of Pick and Roll. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week. Improved setup, but we're dealing with some technical difficulties. Thank you for hanging in there if you made it this far. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.